Now to what was once heralded as the ABC's flagship program, Q&A. As The Australian reported on Friday, the show's ratings are the lowest since its inception, last week registering only 228,000 viewers across the 5 major capital cities.
And didn't the ABC get tetchy about this, tweeting in response, correcting the record? This story is wrong. In fact, Q&A's average national audience this year is more than 430,000 viewers. Why is the Australian ignoring regional viewers?
But the Australians' figures were accurate. And as for the ABC's shrill protest about ignoring regional viewers, isn't that a bit rich for a broadcaster whose primary demographic is limited to those living within a 5-kilometre radius of the Sydney and Melbourne CBDs?
According to Q&A's promo, the show aims to create a discussion that is constructive, that reflects a diverse range of views, and that provides a safe environment where people can respectfully discuss their differences. We thought we'd show you a few examples.
All terrorism is theatre and all counter-terrorism is theatre. I could go down to Toys R Us and construct something like this and get one of those lightsaber things that goes zoot, zoot, and every time you walk into my classroom I could go, wait a minute, zoot, zoot, and that'd have an effect. Because that's what security is, that's what counter-terrorism is.
As a woman, I'm asking, how many rapists must we kill until men stop raping us?
Australia, whatever. Like, we live in a colonial state, and I think for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, we are living in a constant state of duress. I wonder what our kind of tipping point in Australia is going to be when people are going to start burning stuff. I look forward to it.
Excuse me, Islam to me is the most feminist religion.
Well, I'm going to say something really dangerous now.
Make that, I'm going to say something really dumb now.
For example, I would argue that traditional marriage, which included conjugal rights, particularly when women were not able to go to work or were fired when they first got married and were basically selling their bodies and their reproductive rights to their husband, he bought them, by giving her room and board in return, was a form of prostitution.
Now, we're not saying the show has always been without merit. I mean, think way back to 2009 when the late Christopher Hitchens called out Waleed Ali's equivocating.
Sorry, Waleed, it's the same. Islam says the same. You cannot be a good Muslim and publicly be homosexual. Why don't you, given the wonderful freedom of a secular conversation where no one's going to say anything about your right to say it, why don't you say what you actually think?
If you took a poll in the Muslim world, you would find that most people would consider it sinful behaviour. But if you took...
Dodging it. It's not what Muslims think, it's what Islam teaches.
Wasn't he great? But sadly, the show morphed into this when it invited an Islamic misogynist to appear on the program, a man convicted of threatening to kill ASIO officers.
The Liberals now have just justified to many Australian Muslims in the community tonight to leave and go to Syria and join ISIS because of ministers like him.
That same man also joked about raping me with a rusty flagpole. Charming. Following the backlash over Maller's appearance, the ABC commissioned TV presenter Ray Martin to conduct a review into the program. You know, the same Ray Martin who starred last year in the ABC comedy series At Home Alone Together, but he saved his best comedy for this review.
For example, when he wrote, quote, "If you are a government politician, no matter what party you belong to, you will be given much greater time to talk about policy and opinions on Q&A than any other public forum in Australia."
Well, you're in such a generous mood tonight, Minister. Maybe you want to reinstate some ABC funding if you're announcing channels can continue.
ABC fact check. Wow, this is highly relevant because ABC...
Minister, let's stay on that subject, or we're not hearing from that at all. Minister, I'm going to move on. I've got the figures here, though. You're ignoring the fact in what you're saying and talking about that 2019-2020 budget. The operational budget barely moves from 29-20 and remains lower than 2018-19 for 4 years.
Virginia,
that's what I call a cut.
That is not true.
Well, the figures are taken from the budget. We can't waste any more time on this. I'm going to go to our next question.
And it's higher than
You've
when we
made the
came to
point several
government.
times, Minister.
Quote number 2 from Martin. If you are a female, you are less likely to be picked as a Q&A panellist. If picked, you will almost certainly get less time to voice your opinion than males, Ray said.
And you want to censor this from the public because it doesn't suit your agenda.
Do you know fascism doesn't suit my agenda? Chris, you're completely right. Neo-Nazism does not suit my agenda. Internet cranks who make threats against my life on justification of fighting some holy war against Islam. Actually, that does not suit my agenda. I want to live in a happy, harmonious, non-racist community, and I think that attitude is actually the attitude of mainstream.
Okay, just one word here, if I'm allowed to get a word in.
Quote number 3 from Martin. The simple fact is, like it or not, Q&A discusses serious politics and important social issues at a more intelligent level than anywhere else on Australian television.
Here's our morality at last. See us caught in full colour, high definition. Look, a cripple on a blind date. Look, young people getting in Magaluf. Look, the mother of a dead son weeping irate. Look, a celebrity eating and singing Agadoo. Now they'll put you on the screen if you've got nice tits, but you will be torn apart if you let yourself slip. And they'll draw red rings around your saggy bits, and they'll flick through the pictures while they eat bags of chips, because you can either be a beauty or a beast or a...
So why is virtually no one watching Q&A anymore? Beats me.